What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic video. Today, we're going to be talking about Snowflake. No, not the folks that are on college campus, but more or less the IPO that's supposed to be the IPO of the year, and everyone's going ooey gooey eyes about, and everyone wants to sell everything they have to potentially go into the stock. We're going to be looking at potentially what could happen, potentially looking at some cases of other IPOs that were really hyped up, and just the overall long-term play potentially within Snowflake. Because again, I'm I'm pretty sure everyone's betting that's going to be a completely S hitting the F tomorrow on the sense of the amount of volume and the amount of price jumping, because they've already changed the overall price numerous times. It was initially like 25, then it went to 80, now it's over 100. Like the price keeps on going up, and that FOMO is really kicking in a lot of people's blood vessels, and their hearts are pumping and their eyes are bulging and they're just sipping their coffee, just waiting to get this IPO starting out, coming out tomorrow. That being said, we're just going to kind of go over, if you don't know what the company does, it's basically helping other businesses that have a lot of data, helps them organize it, helps them warehouse it, and helps them utilize it. A couple key points that we can look at here. I think a lot of people have already seen this, is the basically Mark Benioff and Warren Buffett, yes, the value guy, are both have $250 million inside of this company, basically in their IPO. Basically, the company is looking for a valuation of nearly $30 billion potentially, just on the potential price. But again, on how that much goes up and down, depending on the day, we don't have a crystal ball, so we can't honestly tell. That being said, also some key components after reading this article, I can link it down below. It's a Fortune one, but good luck with that one. One of the largest consumer of this product. So they, again, like, it's key things here. Snowflake's had 56 customers that spent at least $1 million over the preceding 12 months, more than double than 22 in the last year cycle. One of the largest customers is Office Depot, which replaced all their data systems. Like Office Depot, like, is one of the largest customers. I just thought that was kind of funny. Their customer list goes on and on. They have everything from Adobe and all kinds of things like Mr. Jim Cramer. If you don't know him, he's the guy on CNBC, does a pretty good job breaking it down. You have some Snowflake counts for Adobe, Logitech, DocuSign, Square is among some of their more affluent clients. Again, we talked about that share price being 100 to 110 potentially, even though I think it's going to go potentially higher with, again, all the FOMO that I'm seeing, all the people drooling to potentially get on this deal. We'll see how that plays out. That being said, let's go ahead and let's switch to the charts to kind of look at some other tickers that saw a lot of FOMO, how it played out, and other various things. Not saying that this is going to be a complete playbook, just to kind of give you the right mindset of like, hey, not everything is just going to go to the moon. Maybe you just sit on your hands and just wait for the great opportunity to potentially fall in your lap. I wouldn't be, for my use case, as of right now, I'm still on the fence, lack of better words, to potentially see if I do add a couple shekels to the pot or not. I just want to kind of see on how it plays out. But it'll be a definitely a fun time to see, because it's always a lot of fun to see those the bars on Tasty or Thinkorswim go up and down like a roller coaster. Let's go ahead and switch over. So we're going to be looking at some particular stocks here. The first one I want to look at is Facebook. So Facebook, again, this chart looks super strange because, again, this is literally since the IPO date of Facebook, and we can zoom in all the way over here. So when Facebook IPO'd, it was a flap, which a lot of people don't remember. People really didn't like the Zuck. I think still people still don't, but nothing's really changed there. But it really had a huge run higher. It was initially priced fairly cheap, came up, I think they overpriced it. I think is like basically they went from 20 to like 30 or 40, and then it got priced too high, hit like a high of 45, and then came right back down to basically where the initial public offering should have been, around 25. But then ever since the allure of those couple months, it just kind of just started to kind of tank and petered off. But of course, now to this date, you see that Facebook, in the long run, once people actually quite understand the business and so forth, which is the key point when I'm trying to project here, is I think a lot of people are buying this IPO, or the retail investors, or even some of the, I bet you call some of the funds, don't actually know what the hell a Snowflake does, and don't quite understand it. They're just buying it because their neighbor, the postman told them, the guy at the cashier told them, whatever. I think that it's going to be a little bit too much FOMO, not to that extreme, but I think there's a lot of people who are just like, hey, the market's been skyrocketing high. Why can't I make more money? Da, 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 da. So that's just one example. Another more recent example is the old Uber. If you remember Uber, of course, Uber's still around, but Uber was kind of a very highly anticipated IPO as well. We saw that IPO really kind of come out, tanked as well, but just kind of leveled off and really never did anything. And really didn't do anything until like 2 or 3 quarters after. You're kind of seeing here the tale of like, I don't have the 10 commandments of my trading really in stone, but I do have some pretty set chiseled rules that I like to follow. And one of them is basically it's hard to buy by IPO prices because again, they can just they're inflated. And usually if they're inflated, they usually come down or vice versa. If they're crap, they'll come down, aka look at Nikola. That being said, you can definitely see here, not saying it's a go-to strategy, but it's you should let at least a couple quarters come through so you start seeing on how if there's potentially more public offerings for people to get out, and between that and just people understanding the company or all that fun stuff like that. That being said, another one we can look at is also around the same time as Uber was Beyond Meat. And of course, this one was a little bit different as well because this one really just took off. Again, had a huge IPO day, kind of sit stagnant for a little bit. Then it started hitting the dog and pony show, got on the different networks. People start talking about it. Oh, it's doing this. And it literally had this huge FOMO run all the way up to $240 nearly. And basically 2.5 months since its IPO. And it really, ever since that, it really hasn't seen that high. Again, after 2 or 3 quarters, it really kind of hit a bottom, kind of lagged out. Had a couple little bounces here. We actually added the position at this little point down here. I think it was only like 220. We bought into the position. It's been a nice little trade. Potentially we're holding this longer term, potentially to break above 150, 160. Full disclosure on that. We do own Beyond Meat stock. That being said, again, not saying these are just examples of how things work. Like it doesn't mean that Snowflake's going to be running up and going completely gangbusters here and just really just tearing a new face off, which I kind of think this could happen. But there will be a time where people want to. I would rather be on the shorthand of that rather than just trying to not being able to sleep at night to seeing the stock hitting these crazy all-time highs. One more that we kind of wanted to look at as well was Alibaba. With Alibaba, this one kind of was the same sense of where it was kind of dormant, then it just really just took off, but then it continued going lower. Again, but just look at the long-term tail of this stuff. Between this, Facebook, these technology stocks have to find like a fit and have to really get into the bigger portfolio's minds. The thing is kind of strange, especially with Snowflake, is that, hey, there's Warren Buffett and very other large investors who are just not throwing cash, they're strategically buying positions because the amazing amount of growth the company has of 211% year-over-year growth and reoccurring revenue that's through the roof that hasn't been seen in any kind of service company. You got the CEO that used to be race sailboats across the world, and he took ServiceNow from a small company. So the individual, the CEO, was the he was the CEO who took ServiceNow public. Of course, you saw the company IPO'd basically a couple shekels. Let me go back here. Again, like $20, ran up, gave it right back. So again, this pattern looks a lot like Beyond Meat, right? It had a huge run up within a very short 2 or 3 month time frame, and then kind of came right back down, traded sideways, built that base that we like to see within our investing term. But then, of course, just look at that long tail. Like, yes, this is going to take years. The IPO came out in like 2013, but look at that beautiful move. Like there have been so many other times to be able to get into the stock. So not saying that you're going to be missing an opportunity. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people making a lot of money tomorrow, and I'm sure going to be looking at some Wall Street bets, folks, potentially losing, YOLOing, and just doing some really ridiculous moves with their cash, and we'll just see on how that plays out. Again, guys, Thank you so much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor. If you're interested in joining the channel, we have the YouTube join button down below, and as well we have the Patreon page channel that way. And last but not least, we have a fantastic Discord, which we talk about different stocks, equities, memes, story time, all kind of fun stuff. Definitely check that out. That is down below. And looking forward to doing some newer videos for you. We're potentially going to be creating a book club, and just keep an eye out for that. Again, guys, this is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace!